you trying to get crazy with this scene? Don't you know I'm loco?
All the way to 2000, I think 16 or 17, I was DJing for Sendog. I went on tour with Sendog for a little bit and DJed for him, and he got into a show, a crew, Power Flow, which is the dude from
Biohazard,
Billy, and all a couple of. So I DJed the Roxy for him. Mug showed up, and Mug saw me and was like, yo, he's like, hit me up Monday. He's like, yo, you're killing it. Hit me up Monday. I want you to come start rocking the Soul Assassin Radio.
What's happening, everybody? This is Bobby Ruiz, a.k.a. Bobby Tribal. Once again, believe it or not, it's time for that
Lower Left podcast. What happened?
Life kind of.
Well, you went to Asia, right?
I think we've done a podcast since China. We haven't?
California? I don't think so.
Since China. Oh, man.
Yeah, and then you went on a U.S. road trip.
I did.
A quarter of the country, right?
Let's call it that. That sounds good.
Yeah. Did you have a call name on the ham radio?
That does sound kind of good. But since China, we haven't done one?
No, I don't think so.
Oh,
we did Ames last.
Oh, shit.
Yeah.
It's been a minute then.
Yeah, you went to the future, right, in Asia?
Well, I went I went to China. I went to Hong Kong, and then which is China now.
In TJ?
No, come on. What is that? and then we went to Guangzhou. I went with the homie Tone. We went to Guangzhou, which is pretty deep inside of China. I had never been that deep inside. I'd been to China before, but I'd only been to Zhuhai. But this was Guangzhou, and met some really cool people that we're working with out there. Mostly B-boys, like
in China.
Wow. Not necessarily retired, but ex B-boys or B-boys that are in the business, and they seem to be doing a great job, and they've got some really cool stuff. But China was definitely a trip. Don't have anything negative to say about it. I can say that it was Guangzhou as a city was really clean. I didn't see any homeless people. It was very high tech city. Not a lot of cash. My credit cards didn't work there.
Oh, damn.
Most credit cards don't work there. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Very little cash is being exchanged. Their skyline, the city rivals anything that I've ever seen. Like sicker than 95% of the skylines that I've seen in different parts of the world. Super, super badass.
How's the food?
The food I could do for 2 days max, 3 days maybe at the most. But it's definitely not like Chinese food here. A lot of hot pot, kind of like barbecue style stuff. I had a couple good meals, but my stomach did get a little funky one day. But the weirdest thing, the thing that I really kind of had a problem with was the toilets, the public restrooms. Anywhere you're in public, a restaurant, at the shopping centers, the malls, stores. Most time when you're out in public, the toilets aren't toilets. They're like porcelain holes in the ground that have plumbing.
So you got to squat?
You got to squat, dog. You have to squat, and I'm not down for that. So one day we were leaving the hotel, and we were about 20, 30 minutes away from the hotel. And the night before, we had this crazy soup. It was like a black chicken. The chicken is black. And soup served in a coconut. Now, I tried it. I didn't eat a lot of it. It had like a black chicken claw in it. But anyways, ate some of that. And then, so we were leaving the hotel the next morning, and my stomach started like gurgling. Like, I'm like, oh, hell no. What was that? That was a motorcycle, huh? Yeah. That was my stomach.
Right on cue.
Yeah. So anyways, I wasn't trying to be sick anywhere. And he just need to completely take that possibility off the table. because I was not gonna like squat anywhere and do my thing.
Yeah.
So they took me back to the hotel. I managed to communicate that to them, but there was definitely the language barrier, and I think it was one of the places where I felt the most foreign. Like usually Europe, you don't really feel. I don't feel super foreign, or Japan is kind of like a second home. Philippines is same thing, but it was a trip. People were kind, very clean city. It was cool. It was cool. But
so you're saying the orange chicken isn't like the orange chicken over here? No.
I didn't see orange chicken anywhere. They did have some really bomb, like marinated barbecue chicken. But there was definitely some things that were a little bit odd that I seen on a couple of menus. But like I said, nothing negative. It was a great experience. The people were cool. And then went from there. We went to Manila, which is we're extremely comfortable there familiar. Too. And we ate, dude. When we got there, we were hungry.
You didn't have the bat soup in Wuhan? No,
nah. So, but that was cool. That was cool. But man, I thought we had done a podcast.
No, we were going to, just you and I, and then like nothing happened. Yeah,
yeah. But shout out to the homies in Guangzhou. There was definitely there was a tattoo shop that we went to. And the homies there were really cool. It's like it's a trip to see how much there is the Chicano influence, the Chicano black and gray, Chicano style has influences in all over the world. Like this, just to seeing these Chinese dudes, bald heads with tattoos, tattooed heads, rocking white t-shirts and Dickies, and the whole thing that you see in Thailand and you see it in other parts of the world, but to see it in China was definitely a trip. But like I said, and then a lot of ex-B-boys, and it's kind of the same thing here, hip-hop and Chicano, and not so much graffiti, but some DJs and shit like that.
Cool.
But, and obviously shout out to the homies from Manila, because they're the shit.
Dondi
saw Dondi. I definitely saw Dondi, Arvin, Jet, Marvin. Special shout out to my brother Wiki. Just the whole crew out there was hella cool.
Nice.
But man, that seemed like such a long time ago. But then this last trip,
you hit the road, huh?
Yeah, man, made a couple moves.
In a what do you call it?
It's
RV.
And my wife and I had been like kind of something that I wanted to do. I like to get away and here in the building and in my life, just in general, is people.
Yeah.
And a lot of but I've always, and I've said this before on the podcast, I enjoy being on the outdoors or out on the ranches in South Texas, and just kind of quiet time, nature, and just kind of visiting other cities and shit like that. But we drove. It's an RV. It's a Sprinter van, but it's not the Mercedes one. It's a Dodge one, because I wanted the Dodge one just in case of emergency and you're in bumfuck. I think it's a lot easier to have a Dodge repaired than it would be a Benz.
Yeah.
Plus it's a great motor. It's got a great drivetrain, and it's super comfortable. It's got everything that we needed to have. But we drove through Texas, Arizona, New Mexico. We went to San Antonio, stayed with my family outside of San Antonio, a place called Bernie. Real beautiful area outside of San Antonio. They have a beautiful home on a substantial piece of property. Cooked and just super quiet. Like you wake up in the morning, there's like deer and shit, and a bunch.
Then you shoot it and you eat it.
It's not the season. But and then we went to from there. We drove up to through New Mexico. We went to Carlsbad, New Mexico. Shout out Big Tiny, the homie. And then we went through Roswell. And then we ended up in Santa Fe. That was our destination, is to go to Santa Fe. I've always wanted to see Santa Fe, New Mexico. Did not disappoint, man. It's beautiful. I mean, I would love to even get a pad there. It was beautiful. The people were super kind. The history of that part of the country is insane. Beautiful churches, old, churches, 300 years old.
Wow.
We went to a place called Chimayo, which, just great stories. It's this little church where people do pilgrimages to, where they've done a bunch of healing. They supposedly have some dirt that it's a long story, but I would recommend, if people are interested in that type of thing, to check out Chimayo. And beautiful people, man. Like, my wife and I met some really cool people there, and they were super cool with us, and we spent some time just chopping it up and talking about them and what they do and what they're about. And then we did the same, and it was a really, really cool vibe. And then just driving around northern New Mexico is beautiful, man. Like, beautiful part of the country. Nice. And then we went down to Flagstaff. It was cool. But
and you landed back at the Lower Left
That's
podcast.
Right. Here I am. Here I am. But I know you've got some things cooking, but we're not going to talk about that right now.
Yeah. We'll save that for next time.
Hopefully next week we get one in. But damn, Johnny, we're almost to 50 podcasts.
Yeah, I know. It's nuts. Like 2021, I think we started.
Yeah, but we're slow as fuck.
We're old.
We get them done, and that way, we don't want you guys to get burnt out on the podcast. But if you're still listening to the podcast, we appreciate you listening, and we appreciate your patience, and thanks for listening. And I don't even know how the subscribe shit works or anything like that, but we're right here, and we talk to people we admire and our friends and things like that. And we do have a really special guest lined up for our 50th podcast. I spoke with him the other day, who's also been around us for forever, since the beginning. Great friend, great fucking crazy talent. Yeah. But today,
ahora,
yeah, we didn't have to go too far to find this cat. Extremely talented dude. You've seen him, here at the Lower Left. You've seen him at all our events for the past, several years. He's from here in originally North County, San Diego. He's currently the DJ for the Cycle Realm. You can catch him DJ in different parts of town, but we have Mr. DJ Julian Ramirez.
What up?
What's up with you?
Chilling, man. It's good.
You, dog.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah. Oh, where'd that Jaeger go?
Yeah. I have over here a little head in it right here.
Is it gone?
Almost.
Dude, I can't do Jaeger. I was telling you. To me, it tastes like black licorice.
It does, but
I can't do black licorice.
It goes down smooth.
Like I had a really good friend of mine. Shout out Rick Zeiler. He was the marketing director for Jaeger, and he did all those Jaeger rock tours, and he used to do Jaeger and Grey Goose, so he would hook us up fat. But I could never. I mean, there was something. Was it a Jaeger bomb?
Jaeger, but they do that with sushi and kind of the Asian joints, the Jaeger bombs and stuff. The table. It's too much. But I like dark liquor. You know what I'm saying? And then with Jack, all the time, it's Gentleman's Jack.
Oh yeah,
Jameson.
He's the reason why I don't drink Jack. he
goes in.
Yeah, he's the reason why I don't drink Jack Daniels, is because he used to carry around this thermos at shows. I don't know if he does it anymore, but he would have a military thermos full of Jack Daniels, and he would kind of
hit everyone, make everyone
that dude,
get drink.
Him and his brother and Cynic, since dude, I don't even know, 25 years at least, doing shit with them and being on the road and going to Japan and shows and shit.
Yeah.
But he's real good with peer pressure.
Yeah.
And sometimes
he just carries a bottle.
Sometimes I'm real bad with it.
Yeah.
One time it was a show in LA and I just overdid it, and I can't even smell that shit anymore.
Yeah, man. I mean, I've always drank Jack and all that. I can hold down some whiskey. So,
a little bit of whiskey. I'll drink some Japanese whiskey or some good whiskey just on the rocks, just something, but not the way that.
Yeah.
Risky too. The homie Risk used to drink a lot of Jack Daniels, like Jack and Coke and shit like that. I can't.
Gets you going.
Can't really do it. What about you, John? You drink whiskey?
Yeah, actually one of my favorite drinks is a whiskey. Uncle Nearest, 1851, I think it's so delicious. 100 proof.
Is that new? Is that
no,
new shit?
The story behind it is...
No, you.
What?
I don't remember you drinking that.
Well, for special occasions, I'd rather do that than tequila.
Gotta break it out of special occasions.
Yeah. Tequila makes me crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I've been there.
Yeah, everyone's got to pick their poison. You know what I mean? So
yeah,
like that,
I think I remember that.
With whiskey and vodka, like I'm straight. But
vodka.
Yeah. Vodka.
I don't really get down with vodka. That was cool.
I like a good martini, like a filthy, dirty martini with some like
extra filthy,
blue cheese, olives and shit in it, like real.
Oh shit, that's fancy.
That's good.
Fancy, bro.
That's good. Yeah, I'm a little bit, but it's filthy. There's a dirty, filthy, fancy. Dirty, filthy. You know. But Johnny gave me a big bottle of Gentleman Jack.
Oh yeah.
Right.
Yeah,
I still have
it. A long time ago.
Yeah, but it's all engraved and shit, so that's why I haven't cracked it.
What were we drinking on Christmas? It was those tall, like the brown.
That was 1942. We had Don Julio 70s. We had Jose Cuervo Familiar. We had Herradura Ultra. Dude, it seemed like every fucking buddy bottles and bottles and bottles. And that was a good night. Real good night. My wife had a great time too. Like we all went in. We all went in, dog. Definitely. That was a real good time. But about you. So you're tell us a little bit about yourself. You're from Oceanside, Carlsbad. How did that happen?
Well,
because people are like, Carlsbad, he must be rich,
right? So no, like my family's like one of the OG, like one of the first old school Latino families in Carlsbad. We had the first house. It's like my great grandma's house has like a
great grandma.
Yeah, it has like a plaque in front of the house. You know what I'm saying? Like it's like one of the first houses that was like Latino as Ramirez, and so my family goes way back in Carlsbad.
Your great grandmother's from Carlsbad.
Yeah.
Did she grow up in Carlsbad too?
No.
So she came in.
Yeah. And so my family's from there. So like a lot of people get it twisted when they're like, oh, Carlsbad, they knew of the new like gentrified Carlsbad.
Yeah.
It's like old school.
That's like any place. Like you could go to obviously Carlsbad, but even you go to Del Mar or San Clemente, and there's little barrios. Like there's Mexicans plugged into little neighborhoods here and there because somebody's got to do the
and
work.
That's basically how it was, I wasn't there, but there used to be just old school, sand streets.
And there's a lot of farms and shit up there, right?
A lot
of there. Isn't that area, is it Carlsbad and Sanitas? Excuse me, famous for poinsettias and stuff like that.
I think it's the flower fields.
The flour fields that are.
My grandma and uncle
Carlsbad
used to work in all the flower fields, all that in Carlsbad Village or the Palomar Airport Road. And all
Yeah.
Just working there in all the fields.
That's a beautiful area, man.
Yeah.
That's right between. Isn't that pretty much right between where Carlsbad and Oceanside meets? Right.
Right.
Yeah, that's a cool. What was it like growing up in that area?
It was cool. I mean, like I said, my cousins, it was just like. It was like a real like barrio Carlsbad, it was all family. It was all my cousins, aunts, it was the same as like, in the 80s and late 80s and 90s, it was like, playing fucking football on the streets and shit. Everyone knew everyone. And, it was cool. You saw stuff on my cousins. They had lowriders. It was really Chicano, you know,
and you have family. I know your tios you have family in Barrio Logan too, right?
Yeah. So my aunt used to own, no, they still do, but it was a first bar. It was a different place, but it was in Logan. I think it was I want to say 1948.
Damn.
The first one they opened, and then they moved it, and then which became the Logan Inn, which my cousin Gino owns. So
what was the name of the first bar? It wasn't Two Roses? It wasn't on that same block?
I don't know. I know it wasn't the same block. It was like right there where, where Hayes used to be? Right there.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. I don't remember. I mean, this was a long time ago.
So your family still owns that
the Logan Inn.
The building too?
Yeah.
Oh,
that's the Logan Inn.
That's your deal, right?
Yeah. So I remember, I used to go when I was younger. My dad used to go and they'd have the family meetings at the Logan Inn, and they have the house back there. Mm-hmm. So I've been going to Logan for a minute. You know what I'm saying? My pops used to just put me down at the bar and they would go handle business in the back and everything like that. So it's crazy to see where it's at now,
What's cool about the Logan Inn is it's still the Logan Inn.
Locals only.
Dude, you walk in there and it's not like, it ain't like a hipster spot. It ain't. gentrified at all. Like you walk in there and you could feel like you're still in the 60s or 70s.
And it's like I'll try to go in there a couple times, like probably a couple years ago when things started popping, and be like, yo, let me come in here and DJ, and they're like, get that shit out of here. Get the fuck out of here. Like, all right.
Get out of here.
That's dope. Yeah.
That's cool. So you went to school right there in Carlsbad.
Carlsbad High.
Oceanside. Yeah. You know, I live in North County. And then I do enjoy going to Oceanside, and you know, there's a lot of different, I guess. You go to Oceanside a lot, huh, Johnny?
Yeah.
Johnny
Hit
cruises Oceanside a lot. Like little pockets, like different vibes you can run into in Oceanside, because there's still like a military presence, but then there's definitely a Chicano presence, and then there's kind of like a hardcore surf. I guess it's a fucking hardcore surf scene, like hardcore white boys from Oceanside. And I got a really good friend of mine, shout out Luke Westman, who's also from Oceanside, and there's it's really cool, and I know that the property values have been going up like real quick within the last several years. They built those high rises right across from the beach. So a lot of
in
cool
Carlsbad,
shit.
like again, like I grew up in Carlsbad. I'm from Carlsbad, but I was always in Oceanside.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying.
That was like the cracking spot.
Yeah, and the malls, and it was like the '90s. So like we were, you know, tag banging, and fools were getting banged on. We're doing graffiti in Oceanside. You got it cracking. You know what I'm saying? From Vista and Escondido.
Yeah,
you know
San
what I'm saying?
Marcos.
Taking the buses everywhere. All that shit was just popping. You know what I mean? The gangs and shit was crazy then. You know.
How did you? So obviously, you know, you're known for being a badass DJ, and shout out to you. Julian actually does our intro to this.
Who did that intro?
Yeah. DJ Julian Ramirez. You should have put a drop in there or something.
You didn't let me. I had one on there. You told me to take it off.
Take that shit off.
Exactly.
But he did the intro for this show, and hopefully we get a fresh one after 50. We'll see.
Getting busy.
We gotta act right. And Johnny, these mics sound good today.
A little peaking, but it's all right. It's better.
We're good.
I'll bring it down.
But DJing. So how did that go down, and how long you been doing that? How'd you get into that?
Well, I think like what happened was I have 3 older sisters, and you know, my sister Deanna used to throw house parties in the 90s, and these was like, you know, Beastie Boys time. I think Check Your Head just came out, and my parents would go away and she would throw.
That's crazy. I listened to that this morning.
Yeah, she would throw these parties around that era, and I didn't know nothing. I just, you know, my parents were gone and shit, and you would just see these just ill dudes come in with their crates, turntables, setting it up, you know, picking a corner. It just started getting popping.
How old were you?
I don't know. I was probably 6th grade. I don't know, whatever that is. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
6th, 7th. No, probably
like
6th
12?
grade. Yeah, 12. And, you know, and it would just be it was that old school 90s house party shit. You know what I'm saying? And the DJs got it cracking. They had the chicks. They look cool. Dope as kicks, you know, all the lights, you know, they set up and everything, playing records. And I saw that and I was like, that's what I want.
You don't remember any of them, who they were?
Oh, no, man. No.
Just the homies.
Yeah, just some.
So
some
then
homies
what? So how'd you get a hold of records?
Well, I started collecting records because my mom always had records. You know, she play them like, you know, on Sundays. All my sisters, they'd be all cleaning the house playing records.
That's right.
So I was always like, yo, like when I saw that, I was like, man, and my mom had a turntable. So, you know, like anybody else, I'd get the turntable and fucking try to scratch on there, fuck up my mom's fucking records.
Yeah.
She'd get pissed off.
And her turntable.
Yeah, exactly. Because it wasn't a Technics,
right,
man. It was like a plastic cheap one. So eventually I was like, yo, I gotta do something. I gotta get some tables, or I gotta get something. So, you know, I used to hit the swap meets with my pops like every Sunday, you know, Oceanside one. I'd look for, you know, a turntable. I finally found one. And I started collecting records. There was a couple record stores in Oceanside.
1200?
Yeah, no, and it was like a Techniques 600 or something. It was like a not, you know, it wasn't a Techniques joint.
But it worked.
Yeah, it did the job. So I started collecting records. I used to go to Encinitas, had a couple record stores, Oceanside.
Off the record.
Yeah, and Lou's Records.
Lou's Records.
There you go.
That's right,
Lou's Records. And then there was a couple in Oceanside, but I don't remember. So I used to just collect. And then I had one turntable. And what I would do is I also like, when you're in 7th, 6th grade, you can't do shit on the weekends. You know what I mean? So what I like to do is I'd always like go to the warehouse, get blank tapes, and just record radio shows on the radio. They had all the different mixed shows, Friday Night Flavor, Pound 06, Z90 joints. Mm-hmm. And it was, I'd record everything. It was mostly first kind of like I was into a lot of house music because my sisters were going to raves. And I would tag along with them. So it was like house music and hip hop and all that stuff. And I'd make tapes. So eventually what I started doing is I would have my little boom box and I kind of rigged it up where I put it sideways and I could play a deck and then set on my turntables and I would use the volume as far as like a mixer. Mm-hmm. And I would get the record and try to scratch and try to mix the record with the mixtape that I record playing, try to get, and do that. And eventually I said, fuck this. I gotta, I started doing mixtapes, little, recording cassette to cassette. And then I got it old enough to, I think I was like, yo, man, I got to start throwing some parties or something. So then I started throwing my house parties and I threw a couple and I was just like, all my homies were getting into DJing. Everyone's graphing, everyone's breaking. It was cool. So
it was the 90s?
Yeah.
Early 90s.
Yeah. Probably like, let's see. Early 90s. And, I was like, I got to make some money. And I threw a party. All my homies DJ'd. We just would go to the fucking local print shop, had the homie bust some graffiti fucking flyers, print them up, run out, fucking print up 100, like 4 on each, and then just start go promoting. And everyone is invited to the parties. So I would charge like $5 to $4, $3, whatever. At the end of the night, I made enough money to buy me some turntables. So I went cop some tables, and then It was a wrap.
Real tables.
Real turntable, real techniques.
Nice.
But I couldn't get the vinyl. I'd have to go to San Diego. I go to San Diego, I go to AC&S Records. Mm-hmm. I would jump on the coaster and then trolley it all the way to Chula Vista to go to get the AC&S Records and all that stuff. You know what I mean? And then, or I just get some, girls that drove and I didn't drive it to drive me down and go get them and shit. So I just started collecting records, man, and just started,
So in those days, it was more like house parties.
House parties and stuff. Still was on, we were I think more, I got into more of the rave scene. It was the Latino, house scene, party crew scene. Yeah. You know what I mean? And, I had a lot of homies that were promoters and, I got into a party crew and they were throwing events and, I was collecting house music and playing a lot of joints. They were throwing, they do the local warehouse thing and all these spots and I would go DJ, and get it popping. But I was young, so all these oldie DJs would look at me and who the fuck is this little kid?
What DJs do you think were the most inspirational to your DJing? Even in the beginning up to now, who are the DJs that are your DJ gods?
I think when I first started, I think it was the house DJs. Again, I get inspired from a lot. It was the New York dudes with Frankie Knuckles and, the deep house dudes or more commercial, the scratching was Bad Boy Bill and Richard Humvee Vision because they were on Power 106 and they just were holding shit down. And
Tony Touch?
Yeah, no, Tony. See, that came a little bit later. You know what I mean? At first I was just more inspired by the house DJs. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. It was hard house, rave shit, Mm-hmm. And then as I got more and I started DJing, I got into more of the Tony Touches, DJ AM, mm-hmm. Mixmaster Mike, Qbert, Scratch Pickles. That was more of the turntablism stuff. You know what I'm saying? I felt like I didn't really get into turntablism after I got into house, and then that's when I kind of went back into hip hop mode and scratching and doing that stuff, open turntable stuff.
So how about now? Within the past 5 to 10 years, who are those DJs and producers that are holy fuck, that you want to, that you really admire?
I think it just goes back to AM.
Yeah.
AM was the dude. He was ahead of the time and stuff that DJs are doing now. Shout out to new DJs like Jay Espinoza, Four Color Zach. They're just doing the modern style of what AM created. I think AM, he was the first one to open the budget. He's the first one to get $1 million contract in Vegas and kind of, set the standards for DJs getting real money. You know what I'm saying? Because I think before him, they didn't really give a fuck about DJs. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? They didn't care about them. Like, they were just like,
yeah. Now it's like DJs.
Now it's the DJ gets the fucking people there.
What's a trip to me is, especially in Vegas and different parts of the world, there's DJs like what's his name, Deadmau and even Mike. You know that they Mixmaster Mike, who's a good homie too, and shout out to him because he's. Fuck, dude, he's insane.
I think,
but they're filling arenas, and they're filling clubs, and they're filling fucking venues, like, you know, tens of thousands of people coming out to see these DJs.
Right, and I think Mike, I have to give him props, and he's out of fucking control. But as before, is like, you know, you can look at shit on YouTube and the internet and go look stuff up. I saw Mike at Street Scene San Diego. I think it was like 2000 or 2001. And he came out there and he was playing fucking Metallica to Rage Against the Machine, back to fucking Onyx, and that blew my fucking mind. Like the open format stuff, like going, oh, okay,
that's
well, like, I don't need to DJ. I don't need just to DJ hip hop and stay in the hip hop genre. I can fucking play Led Zeppelin. I can go into some of this. I can go into that. And it blew my mind. And that was kind of the first like thing of going, okay. That's what I want to do.
Blew the door wide open.
Yeah.
So I'm not sure if I told you this story, but we were Tribal was turning 20. It was our 20-year anniversary, and famous Stars and Straps was 10. So Travis and I decided to do an event in Vegas during the Magic Trade Show. So Travis goes, hey, you know, I'm gonna bring, like, what are we gonna do? He goes, well, I'm gonna bring AM. And just, you know, whoever you think is compatible to AM, you know, like, who do you think is that? Just whoever you want to bring to represent Tribal. And so I call Mike, Mixmaster Mike, and Mike's like, hell yeah, like, you know, Mike, that's the homie. So he was down to do it. So we all get to Magic. The day before we arrived, everything was done. Promo was done. Back then, it wasn't all social media. There were flyers. This was shit like 14 years ago. Yeah, hand to hand. A lot of flyers, promos, word of mouth, marquees. Like, you know, people, just the vibe was out. It was going to be AM, Mixmaster Mike, and I think we had Premier. I think Premier was going to open for him. So it was all set, and you know, Mike was scheduled to go on before AM. So I'm cool. Yeah, we'll do that. So whatever. AMODs.
Oh man.
So he that's when he died, when he passed. Damn. So, you know, the whole energy just kind of flipped to like, you know, we still did the event. Travis replaced him with Jazzy Jeff.
Yeah, Jazzy Jeff's another one.
Jazzy Jeff is hella dope, and people don't know how sick he is just because they always think Fresh Prince.
Yeah, they think Fresh Prince DJ. They think, oh, like funny ass.
So with Premier, but I'll tell you where the mistake was. And you know, obviously that whole event was all about AM. Like, everybody was, you know, it was about AM, and everything was about AM, and we had, you know, rushed a bunch of RIP AM stuff out. But the mistake was having Jazzy Jeff and Premier go on after Mike. Oh yeah. Because the energy went from like a 11.
Yeah.
Like, just
popping. Just
crazy energy. And they're great DJs. Like, oh, come on, man. Fuck.
Yeah.
Premier, and they're sick DJs, but the style was completely different. Mike was in there mashing everything. Like, he just going crazy. Just nuts.
Yeah.
And when he left, it just went like,
yeah.
But it was cool. But
you could feel that.
Yeah, man. And that, I think, is the most, and I've only seen Mike perform like that. Well, excuse me. He also not the last time, but I seen him perform. Actually, he invited Bobo and I he opened for Metallica here in San Diego.
Yeah.
So he invited us to go with him to, you know, when he was in San Diego, right down the street. So we went with him and got to stand on stage, and that was pretty wild too.
Yeah.
But the sound wasn't the same.
Right.
But that energy, then I understood it. Yeah. Like, I get it now. Like, I see why people are filling venues arenas, even stadiums to see DJs and their performers and the whole everything he did was like insane.
I think what with me is you know, I moved up to LA probably like in 2008 or 9. Before, you know, I DJ'd do the San Diego circuit. I did all these spots down here, you know what I mean? And I decided to move. And when I made that move, I moved to Hollywood Boulevard, some fucking... You ever seen the movie fucking, what is it, Coming Back to America? That was like my first apartment and shit. Yeah, straight up, bro. Yeah. But I was young, so I didn't give a fuck. I went to my promotions like Carl's Bad. I was like, hell yeah, this is it.
Yeah.
But Hollywood was popping, you know what I mean? Like, that scene, like AM, like with the clubs like Cinespace, all these clubs, like you would be able to see AM, Aoki. Aoki wasn't even a DJ back then. You know what I'm saying? That Spider, like all these dudes, it was like a movement. It was like the electro scene, indie electro scene, probably 2009, 10. It's like, I compare it to like, you know, how the 70s New York, they had 54. Mm-hmm. Hollywood had its own scene, you know, and from me going to those spots and right away when I moved to LA, I clicked up with the Cali Untouchable DJs, which was DJ Warrior. And at the time he was like, I mean, I think Rolling Stones made him like mixtape king of the year or something like that or something. So right when I got to LA, I linked up with him and he just started introducing me to everyone, you know, and it kind of threw me in the water like, motherfucker swim, you up here in LA? Boom. So I just started rocking clubs and seeing these DJs where they were more performers. Mm-hmm. You know, I learned to be when you DJ, you want to, for me, is to be a performer. You know, you want to talk, you want to get people popping. I see a lot of DJs they sit there and, you know, that's cool too. But I think
there's how Johnny DJs like that.
Huh? Well, yeah, I'm retired.
DJ tired.
DJ sleepy. Yeah. No. So I saw, you know, more performances and stuff like that, where like Mike and all these guys, they actually cared about the set and put the set together as performers. And I was kind of like going, okay, that's what I want to do. You know.
I think one thing when I first started listening to what you're doing in your sets and paying attention to how sick you are is that whole open format.
Yeah.
Like, I love that shit. Yeah. Like, I just, and if, you know, a lot of people, I mean, people do know that a lot of hip hop came from rock and roll.
Right.
Like, a lot of those samples that you're hearing come from rock records.
Yeah.
And not just rock records, pop records. And there's a lot of these DJs, including people like Tony Touch and Muggs and people like that fuck with house music. Mm-hmm. Like they're in there doing, you know, trip hop and house and
experimental
and vibey shit. And I was listening to an interview not too long ago, from the people from Portishead, talking about who inspires them and what inspires them. And they're like, Muggs.
Yeah.
I'm like, wait, huh? And they're like, oh yeah, the way Muggs did. And I'm like, well, what am I not under? There was some shit that was deeper that I didn't really comprehend, like how, but they were talking about the way he does certain things and how that really, this was like, this dude was just all about Muggs.
Yeah. Muggs is like a different human being.
Yeah, man. Dude. He really is. Muggs is a genius, dude.
Oh, like, super genius. I say that. He's super genius, man.
Yeah.
And a fucking really good dude. You know?
Yeah. Super, super solid and always been nothing but cool. But just that whole thing being brought up with, you know, prior to hip hop, because I'm not old and a lot of us are, like, that we listen to a lot of rock music.
Yeah.
We listen to punk rock music.
Right.
And we listen to pop music. We listen to, and then when hip hop came around later, obviously all that too. But now to be able to listen to some shit and it's like, oh shit, that's AC/DC, and now it's going into
Megadeth,
you know, it's going into Megadeth. Now it's Run DMC, and then oh shit, it's going into, you know, whatever, and it just keeps going, Motley Crue, whatever, and it just keeps it, and you're like, and it's just
and that's how I kind of feel.
A good time.
Yeah, I feel like, you know, DJing, like I want to get people either dancing, moving, or up to the tables looking or bobbing their head, like in a sense of like into it. You know what I'm saying? And that's kind of like my objective when I spin of like trying to get a crowd popping, you know what I mean? Trying to
and that's everyone. Part of the art form, I would imagine.
It's reading the crowd, right? You got to read the crowd, read the energy, and then take it from there, and not get boxed in as a hip hop DJ or you know, whatever. You do whatever feels good and whatever the crowd wants.
Yeah, because, you know, I feel like I try to break out of that sometimes because, you know, a lot of people see who I'm affiliated with and who I DJ for and you know, stuff like that where they're just like, he's just a hip hop DJ, you know. And I get a lot of people when they hear my live sets or somewhere in Logan or you know, at the Legacy show, they're like, damn, I never knew that you fucking DJ'd open format like that. You know, that's fucking crazy, you know? So it's kind of like trying to step out the box, you know? And
that's where I think Legacy, the one on the pier.
Yeah.
That's where you blew people's minds.
Yeah.
Like that's when people really started talking about you.
Yeah.
Like around our circle, like, did you see that dude? That motherfucker. Like everybody was bugging. Like that dude Julian's like, and that's, and I didn't spend much time at that show.
Not to change the subject, but we're coming on the 5th year from that, right? It was 2019.
Yeah. So next
year. So
is
there another Legacy show coming?
I have some things in the works.
Okay.
Good. So that's our next year. So you change the subject.
Well,
but it's all right. We're Tribal's 35 next year.
Yeah.
And 2024 it's our 35th anniversary. Wow. So yeah, obviously we'll do some shit.
Yeah. Get it popping.
You know,
Can't wait.
But you know, that open format, that hip hop, rock and roll, you know, even some punk rock shit mixed in there. That's the shit, dude.
Yeah.
Like and then the scratching.
I think
and
a lot of
top
people
of
too. It's like it's really fucking hard to do because you're dealing with like live bands and stuff like that. It's with hip hop or house, it's quantized.
Yeah.
So it's on a beat machine. So it's, you know, it's steady. And when you start mixing like fucking bands and Metallica and like their paces are going up, down, you know what I mean? So for you to get them both on beat to a record to another record, it's really hard to do. So it's kind of like a lot of people don't know how to do it. You know what I'm saying? So when they're seeing it, their minds are like fucking blown. I'm just, you know.
But besides doing that, then you got a scratch on top of it. And that's like playing an instrument on top of the mix that you had to try to find the records that go together and then time that shit and then know when to fucking, it's work, dude.
Yeah. And I'm just keep it real. I got my scratch from Bad Boy Bill, bro. Like he has this pattern that, and people will call me out.
Who is that?
It's he's a house DJ from Chicago and he was pretty big in the like, you know, party crew scene, you know. He used to come down. He used to come down here a lot, like Club Diversity and all these other little, you know.
Do you know him?
No, I know he's big, but his mixtapes were popping. You know, I used to get him. But he has a scratch that basically is kind of just the main. My scratch is like the same steez, and I would practice this fucking scratch all the time. And once I mastered it, it's just kind of in a sense goes with whatever kind of fucking track you're trying to scratch.
Yeah,
so that's where I got my shit from. I mean, I can't wall out like these motherfuckers like Q-Bird and those guys are on another level.
Yeah,
I will never get that.
They speak to aliens.
Yeah.
They speak to aliens with that shit. Like
they're on that shit, huh? They're like, when it was a light. I saw a light in the air and I was speaking to it, scratching. It's like, that's crazy.
But what they do is a completely different form. Like when I listen to something, including DJs, I like to find like, you know, a rhythm, or you find like a beat, or you find you can follow it.
Yeah.
And a lot of what the scratch pickles and those types of DJs do is you can't find that. Yeah. That's not there. It's just
they're just fucking doing their own
and
thing.
They're doing, but it's so intense and on another level.
Yeah.
They can do exactly what we're talking about. They'll play on beat. They can do, and I've seen it.
Yeah,
I've seen them do.
Level,
they're on another level, and it's you know, Shortcut.
Yeah, and at the same time too, you know, I don't get a twist. I put in work, man. I used to carry records for the older homies. You know, fucking went crate digging all the time. I go record shopping. I've had records get melted. I've had records break. Like, you know, I've done my time of DJing and carrying records and fucking going to house parties and carrying 10 crates. I don't think no one knows how heavy one crate of fucking records
like
is.
100-pound monitors too. Like
Monitors, tables, coffins and shit. You know what I'm saying? I feel like also like a lot of cats that DJ now, they haven't put in that work. You know, they just get a laptop and they're on there like, you know, I want to DJ now. You know what I'm saying? And they don't have those years and years that make you an ill motherfucker.
It's like everything else right now. You know, it's like everything else. Things have become so watered down and easy and accessible. And I think DJing is probably, you know, it's almost like there's an AI for a DJ now.
Yeah.
You know, it's like, and instead of just being able to, but that also, I think, has enabled the art form to transcend and to expand and to sound like it sounds now, because it helps the DJs that know what the fuck they're doing.
Yeah.
That can really manipulate these tools. And then those ones that are just starting, obviously they're just starting, but fuck, dude, you hear some shit now and it's insane.
Yeah.
You know,
there's so much technology.
But
crazy.
where do people hear? Do you have mixes online somewhere? If people want to listen to your mashups, or they want to listen to your sets and stuff?
Can listen to like Mixcloud, SoundCloud, and all that stuff, you know.
So they look for DJ Julian Ramirez.
on Mixcloud, and all the stuff's there.
So you have like full mixes,
mashups, different mixes. I do a lot of live mixing, like let's say I have a legacy mix up that I did there. You know.
Do you think it's more difficult now or easy? Because back then, you know, DJs went from mixtapes. Obviously that's where it all started, with the mixtape.
Yeah. To
mix CDs to USBs. But
as far as promotion, like helping them.
Yeah, but like, is it harder now for it's more accessible, but it's also more saturated, and sometimes the really, really badass DJs are fucking a needle. You have to find them.
Yeah.
Because there's so much shit that's out there that's, you know, for lack of a better word, garbage.
Yeah.
To find that bad motherfucker. Like,
things are just so saturated now. I think as far as like working and like, you know, trying to get gigs, you got to just be out there. You got to be in the mix. You got to be hitting up homies. You got to be going to parties. You got to take every opportunity you can. Even gigs, you know, even sometimes I'll do, well, not no more, but, you know, I used to, like, when the free gigs, you know, opportunities, motherfuckers are like, yo, there's no pay, but, you know, you can come rock. I always took those opportunities. You know what I'm saying? I never was like, nah, I'm good. Or, you know, I would take them because I knew once I come and fuck it up, that the owner's going to see the people reaction. People are going to be like, yo, bring this kid back. Bring him back. We want him, you know, let's lock him down. You know what I mean? So I always took opportunities, you know, in a sense, as far as like the saturation. Yeah. It's just, there's so many whack fucking DJs. Just keep it fucking buck. There's a bunch of whack DJs.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And I think the ill DJs, like, you know, that eventually if they're out there working and grinding, they'll get to where they want to get, which is the light, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah. So do you think it's easier or more difficult now to promote and to be heard?
I think it's more difficult because there's just so many motherfuckers doing it. You know what I'm saying? I think it's good because you have to have something to be like, yo, check my shit out. You know what I'm saying? But I think that's kind of like, it's kind of like a lost thing. You know, it's kind of like business cards. You know what I'm saying? Like how business cards are like piece of paper and people just get them and you're like, yo, whatever, motherfucker. You know what I'm saying? It's kind of like that, where I think it's, you got to have them. You got to have your mixes on stuff. But I think it's just networking and, just fucking with the right people, man. I know for me, like when I moved to LA, I knew, okay, cool. I clicked up with one of the biggest DJ circles and, you know, got introduced to everyone. I know I wanted to fuck around and be where I wanted to be, which was eventually did the Hollywood circuit club stuff. And then once I got into more producing DJing, my boy Warrior is part of Soul Assassins. So he introduced me a long time ago to Muggs. And this Muggs, you know what I mean? I always knew who he was and listened to Cypress and everything. But I knew if I can get into that camp and fuck around with these guys and stuff, that's something that I want to do. And it's a right circle. I feel like I want to grow with, you know what I'm saying? A lot come out to it. And I feel like you got to like click up with someone. You got to get in somewhere. That's wherever you want to go. You got to click up with the circle you want to move. You know what I'm saying? I think doing it yourself is kind of hard. And, I think you just got to be out there and clicking up with people and working off of that, you know, and letting your talent shine, you know, putting in work.
Shout out Soul Assassins, and obviously DJ Muggs. Cause we have been fortunate enough, not just them, you know, in the music, but the whole clique, Soul Assassins, and working with them for the last over 30 years and growing together and still working with those dudes and doing projects and you know, supporting each other. You're absolutely right. Like, you have to find or you know, groups of people that are willing to support each other.
They're kind of like-minded in a sense that they're doing stuff, you know. I feel like a lot of cats, they put themselves around other people that aren't really doing anything, and it's like, what do you want to do? You want to keep on moving up, or you just want to stay stagnant? And when I got with Cali Touchables Warrior, he introduced me to Muggs, and I DJ'd the I think it was like the the Last Laugh, their store opening for this cartoon store. DJ'd, and that's what I'm kind of circled. So I met Muggs, and I would see him here at different parties and stuff like that. But fast forward all the way to 2000, I think 16 or 17, I was DJing for Sendog. I went on tour with Sendog for a little bit and DJ'd for him, and he got into a show, a crew, Power Flow, which is the dude from Biohazard, Billy, and a couple of. So I DJ'd the Roxy for him, and Muggs showed up, and Muggs saw me and was like, "Yo," he's like, "Hit me up Monday." He's like, "Yo, you're killing it. Hit me up Monday. I want you to come start rocking on Soul Assassin Radio." And I always take that in of like, yo, if I didn't get paid for that Roxy show, you know what I mean? I just did it out of the strength for the homie Sendog, you know what I mean? So that opportunity led to different things. And then, you know, I went and met up with Muggs, started doing Soul Assassin Radio, and that just opened a lot more doors, you know what I'm saying? And, you know, it just, I think you gotta kind of, you know, find out where you want to go and just start aiming towards that, you know? And pushing towards that, and eventually, you know, if you're doing things right and you're grinding hard and you're working hard.
Do you also produce beats and produce music and stuff like that?
Yeah, It's crazy because I'll get like, yo, I want to start DJing crazy, you know, and get into DJing. Like, no time for producing right now. I just want to DJ, and then I'll hear some ill samples, and I'll like be like, all right, man, I'm gonna put DJing on hold for a second, and then go into beats. So I go back and forth, but you know, right now, I mean, like, I've been cooking up a lot and producing, and I was in the studio with Jack the other day. I was playing him songs, and he was like, yo, let me get number 3, number 4, let me get 3 of those beats, and stuff like that makes me motivate. Like, okay, motherfuckers fucking with my shit. Like, they like it. Like, I want to go back to the studio.
Badass producers like that asking for your shit.
Yeah, I want to go back to like, you know, go make beats because I see another outlet, you know what I mean? So things like that motivate me.
Every time I hear like an old song, like an obscure song, or like a Mexican like old obscure song, and the beginning starts, I'm like, oh shit, that sounds like a Psycho beat. Sounds like a Psycho round beat. Yeah. And I had these ones I made them, and I knew he would always like, you know, same style, and I got to play from probably last week before we were doing rehearsals for Psycho the Mile. And he was fucking with me. He's like, let me get those 3. So that kind of made me like, hell yeah, I got to get back on my producing shit, you know?
So besides DJing, I know you have a lot of other interests and things that help you, or not necessarily help you, but that, they help you pay the bills. Shit. You know what I mean? I know you're really into vintage, like vintage clothing, vintage streetwear, vintage, that whole vintage vibe that's so hot right now and all over the country. Yeah, all over the country. Like, you know,
it's blowing up now.
Yeah, man. It's tell me a little bit about that and how you got into that and what that's like that whole scene.
Well, I think it's like, you know, it just comes down. I mean, I'll speak as far as like the DJs, you know, I think DJs has always been in just a cool shit, which is have new kicks, you know, music shirts. I mean, as far as me,
it's like a hip hop.
Yeah,
it's like a b-boy.
Yeah, like b-boy. You want the freshest shit. You want the newest shit. DJs want the newest shit. We want the newest records. We want the newest shoes that drop. You know, streetwear shit. You know,
right.
So as far as me, I would always buy the record and the shirt. You know what I mean? From the 90s, Wu-Tang shit, Wu-Tang Forever stuff. Just stuff I've been collecting. And then, you know, even going, again, like I said, comes back to like going to swap meet with my pops and just finding cool old shit, you know. I just would always collect stuff, and we'd always wear, you know, like again, like it's the same thing when like in Hollywood, like AM and all those guys at Hollywood, and like it was a thing to wear older shirts. It wasn't a thing yet. Like it was like, yo, fucking, I got this fucking Wu-Tang Forever shirt. Oh, that shit's fresh. That's cool. Oh, I'm gonna try to find a Snoop Dogg stuff. You know what I mean? It was kind of like that. It wasn't as big yet, but then eventually it got big where it got cool to wear old fucking clothes, you know what I mean? Older, cool clothes, you know? And, I think that I was just a lot of people were like me ahead of the game of going like, yeah, we've been collecting shit like that. You know, we've been collecting. Oh, you guys buying this shit now? Oh, cool. Well, let me pop off the shirts I don't want or something like that. And fools are paying up for them now. You know what I'm saying? And I think as far as like street fashion and just fashion goes, like vintage is so popping right now because you can fucking everyone, all these kids and people realize, yo, what do you mean? I can go to the garage sale and find a fucking Iron Maiden shirt for fucking $10 and then go online and sell it for $250. What the fuck? Yeah. You know, it's like the prop is so crazy.
Probably more than that.
More than that, you know.
Like for an Iron Maiden shirt?
Yeah.
What's an Iron Maiden shirt go for? I would imagine it's more than...
Yeah, no,
the one with the original, what was his name? Was that... He was Freddie? What was he?
I know she's got the character.
Yeah, the character, his name is. Like the main Iron Maiden shirt. That's probably $1,000 t-shirt. I don't remember his name.
And I kind of like, again, me and my homie Esco, we always laugh about that. Shout out to my boy Esco, man. We've been on this shit, and we kind of were like, once we kind of saw the vibe of where it was going, of people trying to find the shit and money, we just went hard and we started looking at it. And we're speaking of Iron Maiden. I remember I drove all the way to Fallbrook, some little fucking hillbilly, some little spot had a fucking Iron Maiden shirt, $20. And, my boy up in LA bought off me for $800. Shit. Yeah. It was a rare, like,
that's what
Iron Maiden tour shirt. There was only like 10 of them or something. It was like one with the alligator head or something like that.
Yeah.
He bought it and I was going like, yo, this is like fucking drug.
But then the thing is finding those honey holes.
Yeah, exactly.
And getting your ass up early.
Right.
And making it to those garage sales.
Yeah. And that's the thing too. Like, I just always been like that, you know, because I would always go digging for records and stuff like that, you know, just cool shit. So when I was already like that. So when it came down to like digging, like, you know, swap meets and stuff like that, you know, I that's what I enjoy, you know, of waking up, grabbing a coffee and walking around finding shit. But, I think everyone now, like I said, I used to come down from when I was up in LA, I'd come to San Diego to Kobe's and I'd come out with like mad shirts, hip hop shirts, Snoop Dogg shirts, all kinds of shirts. And as the years kind of like everyone started doing it, it just got low.
That's all Kobe's is now.
Yeah. So I eventually linked up with the owner of Kobe's and kind of like put it to him.
We got to do something there. You and I have been talking about doing an event there, like a car show or
before they get rid of the parking lot.
But the thing is, there's no more big three.
Yeah.
And then, so it could be a cool spot to do. It's big enough where you could do like a big three type.
I talked to him about it. He said he would. We just need to link up. They do the Volkswagen joint.
Yeah. Let's talk after the after the podcast.
So I was like, you know, now it's kind of like, I'm just over it. You know what I mean? I did my shit. I have my
Are
stuff.
You?
Yeah. It's just too many.
You just have your collection?
Too many people. Yeah, I have my collection. Too many. Well, see, the thing is this, that during COVID, like I was just slanging shirts and I was just collecting. During COVID, I don't know, man, everyone was losing their motherfucking mind, man. Everyone thought people were going to die. It was just crazy. So these shirts were going for like, you know, in the vintage community. I started a vintage page. I was popping. You would see me. I'd be like, oh, I just sold this joint for $6, whatever. I think everyone was losing their mind or something, but people were paying up for shirts. So I was like, you know, I had a bunch of shirts and, I saw shirts, the ones I had were going for $2,000, $3,000, $4,000. And, I had a closet and I was like, you know what? Fuck this. Like, I'm going to, instead of having a cool bunch of closet shirts and going to fucking, you know, vintage spots and like little nerds being like, oh, you have the fucking, you know what I mean? I was like, I'm a cash out right now. So I remember like I took like 3 weeks of just posting shirts and hitting them all my people and all the collectors. So I sold like maybe half of my spot, like half of my collection. I made like 20 racks in like a couple weeks and I got a 62 Impala.
That's right.
You know
that's where I was going. Now tell us about your ride.
Yeah.
So that's how you bought the car.
That's how I bought it. Yeah.
But I mean, I'm guilty of doing shit like that, is selling something from the collection to add to another part of the collection. Cause at the end of the day, it's still your collection.
Right.
It's still your shit. So if I'm selling some, whatever, something out of the art collection to buy car parts or something for a ride I'm building, or I sell some old car shit.
It's like going to something else.
Yeah, if I sell
in your mentality, you're saying like, yo,
yeah, it's
like
okay.
It's okay.
Yeah. So you're justifying it. If I'm selling some car parts that I don't need or I'm not into anymore,
yeah,
and I sell those parts and I go buy some art,
yeah,
I'm still chilling. It's just taking something from this part of the collection, put it into this part of the collection, but it's still your shit.
And the thing with me is like I had my 64. I bought a 64 fucking when I was young.
Your 2's clean.
Yeah.
That's
so my 60,
clean.
I had my 64 and I sold that to move to LA. You know what I mean? I needed money. I needed money so I sold that. And I remember even talking to like all those fools, and they were like, "You sold your fucking ride?" And I was like, "Yeah." And they're like, "Fuck, I get rid of my old lady for it." Man, so I was like, "Yeah, it is what it is." But they're always like, "You'll get another one."
You know what? It just changes. Your life changes. Your priorities change, and
there'll always be another one.
Yeah,
right. And I was always like, it's crazy because I would have like fucking dreams. I would like be asleep and be like, still thinking of driving my car, like just like slow, and then I'd wake up pissed because like, man, I don't have that motherfucker.
That feeling.
Yeah. So I was like, when it got into quarantine, I had all these things. I was like, yo, fuck it. And then, I was coming down here a lot too, and everyone down here had whips and shit. And I was like, I got to get something. And so I made that move. And, what's crazy is the shirts that, it was like at a time when it was like at its all-time high, because the shirts that I was selling for $4,000 to $5,000 a piece, they're going right now for $200. You can't even get it. You can buy for $200, $300.
Oh shit!
The value went down
because of saturation.
Saturation.
But is there also a bootleg shit, like people trying to make fake?
No, there is,
shirts?
but the real people know how to like see what it is. But it's just, I think that time, it was just the peak of vintage. And I told my homie too, and I was like, yo, get rid of your shit, man. Like, keep the ones. I still have the ones that I've like had since I was young. And they're like, the shit's that's cool to me is which the ice shirts. Cubes. Yeah, tribal joints, the fucking Snoops, the graffiti, fucking tribal streetwear, Phillies shit. All that stuff I still have for myself, but I would tell my homeboy, I was like, yo, get rid of it. And he never got rid of it. And so like he has a closet full of shit that he could have sold for like money. And now it's just like, he can't even get rid of it now.
Yeah.
So it all worked out.
So, and you got good tattoos.
Yeah, man. Fucking around with the fucking lower left, bro. You guys fucking right.
Bro. So Julian's actually here in the building. Like he's got his studio here in the building. So, but he's got the advantage of being right next door
to Isaac.
To Isaac Quesada, and he's been going in on him.
Yeah, man.
He got down on you, dog.
He's been going in.
You see that turntable, Johnny?
Yeah, it looks good.
Yeah. He got some sick shit.
Looks like it's moving. Just like as it should.
On top of the Zodak joints.
Shout out to Zodak. Oh, I gotta play you some stuff he sent me.
Oh, word.
He sent me some really, really, really sick music.
Yeah.
So, and now we talked about this before the podcast. You recently moved into probably one of the nicest, hottest areas in central San Diego.
Yeah.
How you like that?
I'm loving it.
Yeah.
It's nice.
Yeah.
It's relaxing. It's fucking calm
compared to Hollywood, right?
Man, Hollywood, man. It's just, like I said, everything fucking after COVID and quarantine and all that shit, like it just got bad, it just got bad. But I'm glad, the years I was there and I still like affiliated and still, made my connects that I still tap in with and stuff like that. As far as living, my mindset, loves it down here. The beach, chill, got my Lolo, got fucking my dogs, my studio here. It's good. I mean? I'm loving it.
So what are you working on now? Like what's next?
More production. I'm about to go on tour with Psycho Realm, all those dudes.
This summer?
Yeah.
Oh, that'll be fun.
Yeah. Go back on tour. Just production.
Did Rich do Psycho and Mile?
No.
Oh, okay. No. So I saw some dude with the bald head. I go,
that's SP. That's Espinoza.
Oh, okay.
So he's now in the mix with Jack.
Because I'm like, did he shave his head? I'm like, but he wasn't, the same skin color.
Yeah.
As
SP. Yeah. No, he's good. He's doing his thing, and I'm just gonna be working on production and got a couple projects, a couple mixes coming out. I just do more like, I've done so many. I'm just doing more, trying to focus on more mixes I just want to do cool shit. I don't want to do no more dumb little shit. I just want to do cool shit.
Yeah.
If I'm doing mixes, it's got to be for cool clothing lines, cool parties, cool events. I'm trying to tap in more. I've been doing a lot more of art shows, high-end gallery shit.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? To get you papered up shit, and as far as production.
And then you did a couple times real cool set with our boy Owen.
Oh yeah,
from Bobble's band and Owen that works there.
He's out of control, man.
That was fun.
Executed everything in a sense of like what I feel like with drumming and DJing and shit.
Yeah,
he's good.
Shout out Owen Bagstad. He works here too. I've known Owen since he was 5 years old. Him and Bobble have been best friends forever.
Yeah,
but that's a sick performance too.
Yeah, no, we want to definitely start working on some different stuff. I know we played the backyard
the
boogie.
Energy, dude. The set that you guys did here in the building, that was hard.
Yeah,
the backyard boogie was cool too.
Yeah,
but the sound was better here.
Oh yeah, because it was more intimate in here.
Yeah,
you know what I mean. It was more louder. It was more compact and stuff like that.
That's what I mean. Like the sound, you felt it more.
Yeah,
there.
we did that, and homie, what's his name? Billy hit me up the next day early too in the fucking morning.
I told Billy.
Because
I told Billy, I go, dude, you got to get them for Backyard Boogie.
Yeah.
I go, this you got to get, Julian and Owen to do that.
Yeah.
And that's really cool. I've always loved the drummer DJ combo.
Yeah, and
thing.
he hit me up like 8:00 in the morning and shit. And he's like, "Yo, man, I saw the video and I want to get you guys." And I was like, "Let's do it." And he was really happy with the performance too.
Yeah.
He said he wants to get us. I guess they're working on like a 3-day event, and he's like, "Definitely, I want you guys to come and headline one of those nights."
Yeah,
so I was like, for sure.
No, that was cool. And then Isaac told me a story that him and Sebastian were out in Oceanside.
Yeah,
and they pulled up to Harney, and he goes, "Dad, I couldn't get in. It was packed." He goes, at the door, they were talking about like an hour and a half wait. We were just trying to come in and check out Julian and have some sushi. And then Julian just comes powering to the door. Like, no, they ain't waiting.
Yeah.
And then he goes, he said, "You're set, dude. Like, I don't know what you were doing that night."
Yeah.
But it blew his mind. He was like, man. He came the next day and he was telling me, "Dad, he got down." Like, it was badass.
Yeah, no, Harney is like, I love Harney. I've been with him for years and stuff. And I was just DJing, but now I'm helping him out with the promotions and bringing in people and getting it, more packed.
Tell him about Harney. Sushi. So sushi.
Yeah, every Harney Sushi in Oceanside is every Friday. I'm there from 7 to 10. Come in, say what's up, get you some drinks, stuff. It's cool vibes. Bring your shorty. It's chill. They always win. They have the best sushi. They win.
So same one from Old Town, right? Same owners.
The Oceanside is more like, it's bigger, it's nicer, it's darker, it's more intimate.
We should go on a date there, Johnny.
Yeah. I actually went, right? I think when you started first DJing there way back in the day. Because I think it was on a Thursday, no?
The summer times we used to do Thursdays because they had the market. So I think when they do the market, they're going to start bringing up Thursdays. But what I like about Harney is they let me do whatever the fuck I want, and I really like to expand. Like that's kind of what I like to do is spinning the open format, I like
and they do have bomb food. The sushi is bomb at Harney.
They win every fucking. It's like the sushi. Like they have like a thing of all the restaurants or like the
sushieros.
Yeah, so it's it's like they win the like best sushi of the fucking year every year and shit. Yeah. So it's like it's crazy. It's good food. So
no, that's sick, dude. So Johnny, you always talk too much, dog.
I know.
Johnny, Donnie DJs too.
Well, I used to, but I spin. It's spinning. It's different. Record
Selector.
Yeah,
no, but he has a really insane 45 collection.
Yeah. So it's sort of like the T-shirts and like collecting anything is where back in the day it was easy. I would get a record for 99 cents. Now you can't get that shit anywhere.
Yeah, I think everything is just saturated. Yeah. Even you know what, with like artists. Right?
Yeah.
It's like artists. Motherfuckers can just jump in the game and paint on a canvas and kind of be like, yo, this is my shit.
Yeah.
Or tattoo artists too.
There's advantages and disadvantages. I think one of the advantages is the accessibility to the whole world. Like people from all over the world, will send me stuff and hey, check this out, or I'd like to try to do a graphic for you guys, or just to get my feedback on what they're doing, or they ask for some pointers or whatever. Just, what do you think of this, or how do you like this, or whatever it is. But I think that's an advantage to social media. But then again, it's like there's dudes out there that are the sickest dudes, and they're not really good at promoting. They're not really good at, pumping their shit up, but they're sick as fuck. So when you happen to stumble across them, or somebody sends it to you, you're like, holy shit, where's this dude been hiding?
Yeah.
It's because they don't give a fuck. They're happy. Yeah. They're doing their thing. Some of them are like, I don't need all that.
Right.
Which is cool too. There's all kinds of gems out there like that just are kind of just doing their own thing, and they don't really care about being famous, or, if you're fortunate enough to get tattooed by them, or to own a piece of artwork by them, then more power to you,
But isn't it though, like, like tattooing and artists and stuff like that, it's more of like it's like the person that's put work in, like is kind of more respectable. Like, oh, I got this tatted by, fucking this dude, and he's been around since, know. And then you got the newcomers dudes where like, this fool's kicking ass, he's killing it right now. Like, so it's kind of like,
but you're absolutely right. 'Cause, I was, I learned this by a famous tattooer friend of mine. Was like, a tattoo by a certain artist is like wearing a particular brand.
Yeah.
Like the same way you would wear, a Rolex or Cartier or Louis Vuitton or whatever. He goes, well, I want to be the Cartier of tattoos,
right?
Or I want to, and then it's the same thing. They age like you would, a vintage piece of jewelry or shirt or piece of clothing. It's like, the motherfucker got some vintage cartoon tattoos, or whatever, whatever it is. But then you're right. Then you got these new dudes that are coming up that are like, holy fuck.
Yeah.
Like, that shit's really sick too.
It's the same thing with DJing. You got the fucking guys that are OG and they're killing it. And you just got these young kids that are just fucking wilding out, and they got the time to sit back and make their own edits and fucking.
But do this. But give them 2 records and a mixer.
Yeah.
And see what they can do.
Right.
You know what I mean? Take the computer away. And then let's see. Yeah, let's see. Can you mix here, or like, here's 5 records, here's 5, and they'll mix.
Yeah.
But can they do it?
Yeah.
Without,
and that's kind of right. That's what's like kind of more popping, right? Like now, not even more popping. I feel like it's getting more popular, which is like these bars that is like kind of like bring your vinyl only, and it's like selector, like, you know what I'm saying? Like just vinyl, but you see these bars and they're not really DJing. They're just, selecting. They're playing, the song, and then they'll lower it down, and they're playing the other one and stuff like that.
That's
I could do that.
Tokyo listening bars or whatever.
Dude, I was just gonna say that.
It's the same thing.
Did we go to one of those?
No. But they got a couple here in San Diego.
Isn't there the part-time
lover in North Park, and then there's one off of Convoy. They're kind of like speakeasy-ish. Well, the one off of Convoy is.
Yeah, because I've been to several in Tokyo, in Shibuya.
So they don't call them Tokyo listening bars?
No, they call them
record
I don't know
bars?
what they call. Yeah, like record analog. Yeah. But I shit you not, my favorite one is the bar's a little bit bigger than this table, and the DJ. It's called Bar Q. It's in Shibuya, and it's right behind the big guitar store in the little alley. And you go downstairs, and the DJ is the bartender serving mixed drinks, serving beers. No computer. I got pictures, videos, just whatever. Stacks tracks. Of 45s the last time. And I was there with Carlos from the B-side players. I don't remember who else was with us. I think Milo didn't go that night. Ames was with us. And badass DJ. Yeah. Like not he was spinning records, but he was mixing the records.
Yeah.
Real fucking clean.
Smooth.
And then he'd time it and go fucking make a mixed drink, serve a drink, pour a beer, and then. But there was like, at the most, there was probably 15 of us in the whole place.
Yeah.
But this motherfucker was acting like it was a packed house with 100 people.
That's the culture there. Like everything everyone does there, they do it with pride. And they do it to the best of their ability. The cars, the music, the drinks, the restaurants, everything.
Absolutely.
The service.
Maybe next time Tribal goes out there, they'll take me.
Well, you have to battle that DJ.
Hey, bro. I'll make the drinks and DJ.
Carlos and I are actually, we because both of our birthdays in July. So we're talking about possibly flying that dude out.
Yeah.
and trying to set him up. And if we can get him enough gigs to finance it and take care of him, then we're going to try to get him out here. But a whole different vibe. I heard about Part-Time Lover. Actually, somebody told me
they have a different mixer.
They
have that old school, like, it's like the knob mixer.
Oh shit!
It's like a knob mixer.
You can take your own mixer though, right?
I don't think so. It's like built in, like it's like a wood built in like thing, and it's like you have to like spin. I get offered a lot, like to come DJ, like
somebody
like
offered
like
me to play there.
Yeah,
and I was like, "What?" And I go, "Yeah, you should go and just play records."
Yeah,
I'm like,
and you just go play records. It's more of a vibe.
Yeah, I'm too expensive overall.
Yeah,
no, but I didn't know they had that. I didn't. Yeah. I heard of that place, but there's one in Convoy. Yeah. Is the music good though?
Whoever's spinning at that moment, I don't know.
Have you been there?
No.
We should go there.
I've seen it. Yeah.
Because actually, Carlos was talking about, like, he was so impressed, and we were both. I had been there before, and then I took him there, but he was so impressed and just blown away. We went to a couple. I think. Shit, it wasn't Milo that was with us. Ames was with us, and there was somebody else. But just the other place we went to, they had records, and then they had record bins like a record store.
Yeah.
So you could go through the records, have your drink, go look, dig, pull out records, and give it to the DJ.
That's, I think, Part-Time Lover like that, right? They have a thing like on the back where there's just a bunch of crate of records. You know, you can dig there or bring your stuff.
It was super cool. I could definitely see that whole scene blowing up here, but it's definitely intimate and it does take out. These dudes weren't scratching at all or anything like that. It was just mixing records. They were mixing the records and beat matching and stuff like that.
It's more for like the ambiance, not like to stimulate or performance. I that place is packed. We've tried getting in a few times, and there's a line out the door.
Which one?
Part-Time Lover. Yeah. The one in North Park.
Who's there all the time?
I'm not cool enough anymore.
Homies,
Is Ratty there a lot?
I don't know. He seems like he'd be there. He's at the Harney too.
Ratty. Is he?
Yeah.
But somebody who works there was telling it might be Ratty.
And I used to go there when it was Bar Pink. They used to have $2 tecates.
Yeah.
it was.
Isn't that Consortium too? I think that's the Consortium group.
I don't know.
That does it.
Yeah.
But anyways, you got any shout outs or anything else you wanna say?
No, shout outs to homies that fuck with me, I fuck with them, and shout outs to Tribal and Psycho Realm and Sick Jacken and
Johnny Sweats.
Yeah. I turned on the AC. I don't know if you noticed.
Did you? I noticed it was a little bit
it was getting stuffy in here.
Yeah. He got here, dog. He was
I was rushing.
He was sweating.
And then, I didn't know, what I had to do in here because it's been, fucking
You did
months.
A great job, though. It sounds good. Sounds good. Sounds good. Yeah, because the last one was a little bit rough.
The fucking cameras went out on the last one.
Yeah.
The
Shout out Ames. Sorry about that, Ames.
He was just done doing a good thing, too, for that vendor. And then we come in.
No. So these aren't new mics? Which ones are new?
No, these are the same ones.
Oh, I thought you said you got mics or something.
Sound clean.
All right. But, yeah, man. Thanks, Julian.
Yeah, no
thank
doubt.
you. Thank you
man.
for coming.
For sure.
DJ Julian Ramirez. You can check him. Hit him up on IG at
DJ Julian Ramirez, man.
That's right. And then you could see him at
Harney Sushi every Friday. Rocking with Psycho Realm. We got a couple big shows coming up. I think we got some in San Diego coming up. That's what it is.
And you could listen to his mixes and music at
Mixcloud DJ Julian Ramirez.
And that's it. Yeah, hell yeah.
Hell yeah.
So thank you, Julian, DJ Julian Ramirez, my man Johnny Sweats, Johnny B. Good. And this is
the Lower Left Podcast. Is that my cue?
Yeah,
I wasn't ready for it, but we're just Lower Left Podcast.
Yeah, and we'll be back. We drop them as much as we can, and thanks to the listener for being patient with us, but occasionally we get a little busy and we get distracted and we would rather do other things.
We're both kind of big deals, so we got a lot of things going on.
But we do have some really cool ones coming. I know I was able to convince Jason Carney so that we're going to have Slappy's coming up pretty soon. Slappy's Garage, which is a local skateboarding legend, super hardcore skate shop. here in San Diego, the OG, Jason Carney, and some kids from Slappy's Garage. I'm not going to tell you who's the 50th show, because that one's going to be really, really cool too. But we'll close it out. I'm Bobby Tribal, a.k.a. Bobby Ruiz. This has been the Lower Left Podcast. We're right here at 17th and Island in beautiful downtown San Diego, Southern Califas, with my man Johnny Be Good. And
we're out.
We're out.
You can't. It's not over till you hit that.